I want to work with you, but you got to give me something. You got to try to deliver something. Anything. They don't do anything except block me.
President Obama hitting hard again this morning, his familiar refrain, frustration over the D.C. gridlock. Hello, everyone. I'm Michelle Franzen in New York. I'm joined now by ABC News senior Washington correspondent Jeff Zeleny. Jeff, let's first take a listen to what the president said on GMA today about Republican House Leader John Boehner's threat of a lawsuit over the use of his executive authority.
I'm not going to apologize for trying to do something while they're doing nothing.
Even if you get sued?
You know, the suit is a stunt. But what I've told Speaker Boehner directly is, if you're really concerned about me taking too many executive actions, why don't you try getting something done through Congress?
Now, Jeff, the president calls Boehner's threat a stunt, and I understand Boehner didn't take that lightly. What was his spokesperson's response today?
Well, you're right, Michelle. Speaker Boehner said the fact that the president is calling this a stunt, it's specifically why voters across America are frustrated with Washington in general. He says it's not a stunt. He says it's, frankly, what the House of Representatives has to do because they believe the administration is overreaching. But look, the fact of the matter is this lawsuit is unlikely to go anywhere in the next couple years, or certainly in the next year. So it is something of an election year, if not a stunt. It's something of an election year moment to fire up the conservative base. There's no question. You talk to Republicans in the House, not even all of them are fully behind this, because they believe that even if the judge or the court here in the Circuit to Court of Appeals would say that the House of Representatives has standing to sue the president, it's still a long road that this would go through. So it is a bit of an exercise, let's call it, if not a stunt. And the president, of course, heating up his rhetoric, as well as John Boehner. Let's give you an idea of how this all started. Boehner on Wednesday.
The Constitution makes it clear that the president's job is to faithfully execute the laws. In my view, the president has not faithfully executed the laws. We have a system of government outlined in our Constitution with the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. Congress has its job to do, and so does the president. And when there's conflicts like this between the legislative branch and the administrative branch, it's, in my view, our responsibility to stand up for this institution in which we serve.
Could this lead to an impeachment proceeding against the president?
This is not about impeachment. This is about his faithfully executing the laws of our country.
So, Jeff, what do you think of Boehner coming out and saying that? And do we know any specifics about what that lawsuit might include?
Well, Michelle, that is the exact question. I was at that news conference with Speaker Boehner, and we asked him, what specific executive actions will you cite in the lawsuit? What specific instances will you bring up? And he said, we haven't decided yet. But you can expect a couple of them will be immigration, for example. The administration has put in a couple executive orders on the DREAM Act and other things on immigration that certainly has riled Republicans and some conservatives. But at the end of the day, this is not a new fight. It's not a brand new thing we're hearing between, the Republican House of Representatives and the Democratic White House. The real problem here is that the Congress is divided. There's a Democratic-controlled Senate, a Republican-controlled House. We're in the middle of an election year, and frankly, nothing is getting done. So the idea of a lawsuit going forward, I talked to some constitutional scholars and some lawyers yesterday, and they said that even some Republicans, they said it's very unlikely that this lawsuit would produce anything at all, and in fact would likely be thrown out because it is very difficult to sue the President of the United States.
And meanwhile, the White House did take a hit from the Supreme Court, saying the president did violate the Constitution by making some recess appointments back in 2012. Are GOP leaders hoping to gain some sort of snowball effect on this, especially in an election year in the public relations arena?
Well, that definitely is a win for Senator Mitch McConnell and Republicans in the Senate who have long tried to block these recess appointments. And again, this is not just something that is going to affect this president. This is something that's going to affect future presidents. Presidents have often used recess appointments as a time to put someone in who is who's objected to, or someone that the Senate perhaps is dragging their feet on. So this is a very significant ruling for this president as well as other presidents going forward.
Jeff Zeleny, thank you very much for joining us.
Michelle, thank you.
You can keep up with this story in real time by downloading the ABC News app and starring this story for those exclusive updates on the go. For now, I'm Michelle Franzen in New York.